answer. Now, Google is 25 years today. Google was officially established in September 27, 1998. The tech giant said in a blog that its journey began when doctoral student Sergey Brin and Larry Page met at Stanford University's computer science program in the late 1990s. They worked towards making the World Wide Web more accessible to people and started developing a prototype for a better search engine, adding that while the duo started their work from their dorm rooms, they later shifted the operations to a rented garage, which became Google's first office. Well, today, Google is being used by people from all walks of life and at all levels, including students and the working class. So the tech giant turns 25. We ask, how beneficial has Google been to you? And what can improve? Thankfully, I've been joined by tech analyst Maximus Ametobo. He is a tech analyst. He joins us via Zoom for the conversation. Also joining us is Desmond Israel. He's a lawyer and data and cybersecurity practitioner. I'm grateful for your time, gentlemen. Let me start with you, Maximus. Generally, how would you describe the benefits we derive from the search engine Google?
I think that Google, they've been able to help us find content on the internet. We have billions of websites on the internet, and I would say trillions of content pieces of content on the internet. So to find this content, you needed a search engine to be able to search for those content. And what they have done is developed a very smart system where they can crawl all this content into a database, and then display it in a search results for us to find or click more on when we search for it within their engine. And they have evolved over the years into developing other smart and innovative products.
Well, Desmond has also joined us. I want us to look at Google's commitment to ethical AI and specifically its commitment to help Africa develop its own geolocation data for future AI solutions and of course, solving African problems.
Okay. I think Google's AI journey has been a long one. For the context of Africa, we know that they set up here. They had a base in Ghana here, where they started doing some of these things. Also, if you look at from the manpower point of view in terms of capacity building and the rest, they've been able to throw a few things out there, which we can credit to them. But from where I sit, I think we would be more interested in, having more specifics in terms of how much more Google is giving to Africa for the purposes of AI development. For instance, if you speak to AI gurus, they will tell you that Africa has not been able to put together what we would consider our own, like an Afrocentric data set, which matches most of the problems of Africa. Google, as Maximum said, has been able to put out the biggest, index that you could ever have when it comes to search engine. And so Google finds itself in a well-positioned place where it could help Africa go on to do its own data collection and data curation, which is more specific to, getting African context kind of output, our culture, the nuances of our location, our unique issues and things like that. And that's something that from somebody like me would love to see, Google bring to the fore and engage experts about it. And how can we do this? I mentioned data collection and curation, which is at least the most important thing now, making sure that we have that Afrocentric kind of data that we could reference to, where AI models would not just be using Western-based data to determine, the outcomes, even though we are using the products within Africa. You can also look at capacity building specifically and look at how we could actually collaborate. And I'm looking at this even from the government point of view. We are already discussing trying to imbibe AI into what we do. And I think that would be a very good call to get Google to come on board and assist from that angle. open data initiatives, grants, funding, small businesses that are also veering into this area could benefit from things like that. So yeah, generally Google is out there doing a lot. For a company that is valued at 1.6 trillion, you cannot say that they are doing everything wrong. No, they're definitely doing something right, and you could clearly see from the outcomes that they've been able to put out there. But I speak more of being concerned about where Africa is going, and especially you mentioning AI. I think that Google can do more. I also hold some views about misinformation and disinformation, but I'm sure as we go online, as we go on with the conversation, I will get the opportunity to.
So as data protection specialists, you and I are definitely concerned about how Google protects personal data. What do you want to see in terms of combating misinformation, fake news, and actually enhancing personal data protection?
Right. So the first thing that got my attention was Google actually contributed about 25 million euros for the launch of the European Media and Information Fund. I think we need this more. We need this more in Africa, to be able to position ourselves when it comes, because the new wave of privacy issues and cybersecurity issues also has a lot to do with misinformation and disinformation, even though it's more seen from a journalistic perspective. You can also recount their $13 million investment into the International Fact-Finding Network. So clearly they have a point-based mission to help address mis and disinformation. But I'm looking at it from where Africa itself is getting some sort of value out of this, like data journalism training, fact-check tools which are more focused, to our use here. And even research specific for journalists, and how we vet user-generated content. Mind you, they more or less control probably the largest data set we can get when it comes to content, from the search engines to internet use behavior through Google Chrome, through the YouTubes that we create content and host and share, and it goes on and on and on and on. And from the privacy point of view, I think my issue would be with children, child online protection, because for the sake of adults, there are a lot of tools. Maybe it's the exposure that is not there as to how to apply these tools. But for children, I'm more inclined to say that we want to see more control over the personal data of children. We want to see a bit more simplified transparency in how we apply some of these tools. It's sometimes convoluting if a child has to apply those settings. Even some of the parents who seem to be a bit tech savvy are not able to come through with applying some of these tools that Google has. And ultimately, a more robust security measure for children. The real issue we have now is child online protection, and we need to pay attention to that.
Maximus, for you, what are the ways in which Google can improve its platform? I mean, what do you want to see after 25 years of its existence?
I think what they've built so far, the only thing that is competing with it is the arrival of AI, and they are also in that space. So they've created a virtual assistant and building AIs into their search, engine portfolio of products. So for me, since they are ahead of us, what we need is to localize policies, policies that will protect our data, policies that will protect the privacies of the users of their portfolio of services or products within the digital space of Ghana. I think that's what we need. Otherwise, we cannot compete. We may not even be influential in contributing to their policy formation and all that.
And of course, one thing I know about Google and its business policies, but what I do not know is what it has for people in Africa. For instance, on Google, you can actually monetize your channel where you receive some money from Google, from YouTube. So let's look at policies, and I want Desmond to address this for me. Are there policies to support small businesses in Africa to thrive online?
So I think there are general policy standards about content creation and monetization and the rest. Also, depending on where you are located, geolocation is used to enhance, your content online. So might not necessarily be Africa specific, and I'll be frank to say that I've not cited any Google document that's speaking about Africa specific. Maybe if there is, someone could alert me and I can pay attention to that. So from that angle, I would say I'd like to see, look, we are Africans, we want things to be better for ourselves. I would like Google to pay attention to Africa, providing, small businesses that are African focused, African oriented, because look, we have economic issues. Any little thing to make it easy for the African to thrive is welcome, So online businesses, maybe getting affordable advertising tariffs, it's one good thing to look at. Maybe easy payment means for all of us. I know they managed to try to use mobile payments on their Google Play Store. We could look at how these channels into other means of payments through Google and make it easier for people to be able to integrate their small businesses here, make some revenue, and also get some very good content out there. Again, whilst we are battling with trying to grow our business and generate content and all that, we're also dealing with a lot of content fatigue, where some of these contents do not even relate to how we want to develop the SAP region. So like Maximum said, if we have our own policy, we could also get Google to implement some of these things across board through content moderation, content generation analysis, and all that. But ultimately, just to address your question, I'm sure Maximum has something to say, and so that I can wrap up. Let's see Google giving us a more Africa-centric business platform to work with, whilst it exposes us to the world. We can't compete. The Chinese are far ahead, the Europeans are far ahead, the US is far ahead. Technology-wise, we are smart, no doubt, but we don't have the platforms. They own the platforms, and all we are asking is give us quite a fair chance for us to be able to deliver.
Maximus, you certainly share in this view, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that even though Google has helped us, when we formulate policies, to make their content or their presence more relevant, I think the individual users will benefit more. Government will also benefit from the revenue side, because people will use their tools to create solutions, to use their tools to sell their products and services, collect payments. Google is also helping government to collect, the VATs and the rest. But we need to contextualize their presence, make it more relatable and relevant to our digital, ecosystem. If not, they will run us over. Really, other countries, what they're even doing now is that Google doesn't own the content they display for their users in their search product. So what they are charging now is a link tax. So if you click on any link within Google, a percentage of the money they get is supposed to go to the content, developers. We don't have it in Ghana. And we produce content for those their platforms. They pay us some money for maybe 1,000 views, or you have Google AdSense, so you become like what they call a digital display network. So you show their adverts on your website or blog, and they pay you some money for it. Other countries, they will fight for maybe a bigger chunk of the revenue than the amount that they are currently serving the African, content producers. So for me, policy is very important. They've set up an AI lab in Accra. I haven't seen an AI policy from the space. I know the likes of NCA and the rest, they are working on that. They are introducing new products and trying to introduce new policies and the rest. We need to fast track that, so that the AIs, the blockchains, the cryptocurrency, all the new technologies that are coming, that are going to drive the digital space in the future, we need to, have a policy and start training young people and, industry experts, so they can drive that.
Well, hopefully Google will take some of these insights to help improve the technology, especially for those of us who patronize it in Africa. I'm grateful, gentlemen, for your time. Maximus Metogo is a tech analyst, and Desmond Israel is a lawyer and data cyber security practitioner. Thank you so much for your time this morning. To others.